My name's Stevie, and I work at Erico Motorsports. I'm the apparel specialist. So with gloves, when I'm generally fitting people for those, I'd like to try and understand what kind of riding they're going to do, because the kind of riding that you do in the mountains is different than the kind of riding that you do in the city. In the city, you don't have to worry as much about elevation and being cold. Knuckle protection isn't as big of a deal to a more casual rider. If you're going to be up in the mountains, you kind of want to be more prepared. You want to have more robust armor.
Oh yeah, totally. And I'm thinking too, if I would be wanting to layer under this too.
And since she said that she was going to be doing some dirt and some city riding, I tried to pick something that was kind of in the middle, something that was going to be ventilated but still protective, so she doesn't have to have a bunch of different gloves.
Yeah, these are kind of nice. I do like these.
I think she went with the Sand 3 glove. So it's a Revit glove, it's leather, like I said, it's perforated, so it has a lot of breathability to it. The leather is super abrasion resistant, so in the case that she goes down, most gloves that are worth anything are going to be leather. Jackets. So again, when I fit people for jackets, you try to understand what kind of riding they're going to be doing. If you're going to be riding in the mountains, you're going to want a different jacket than if you're riding in the city generally. It gets really cold really fast at high elevations, so I suggested to her a jacket that has some layers that you can zip in and out depending on what kind of riding. She was interested in a leather jacket. Again, leather is super abrasion resistant. It wears really well, it lasts a long time, as long as you take care of it, condition it once a year or so. A good leather jacket will last you years and years and years. Roland Sands also has some more modern cuts. I feel like with women's motorcycle gear in general, for a long time, the idea was shrink it and pink it. So you just take men's riding gear, make it smaller, then put some pink on it, and that was women's gear. But recently, there's been a big push to have women's gear that actually is made for women, for women's body types, because women are not just small men. You want to look good, you want to feel good. So Roland Sands does some really nice modern cuts specifically for women, which I am a big fan of. In Colorado, we have a lot of temperature differences. It gets really hot in the summer. So my recommendation to her was the Arai X Defiant helmet, because it is the most well-ventilated helmet that I've ever used. It has vents, has a bunch of different vents that open and close, so if it is a colder day, you can close all your vents and keep that warmth in. If it's a warmer day, you can open those vents and allow that airflow to come through without having to leave your visor open, because that'll really dry out your eyes. It's also a super strong helmet. The way that they're shaped, it's a very specific angle to lessen rotational damage. So if you were to hit the ground, the idea is glancing blows rather than hitting and catching. All the vents pop off. Again, you don't want anything that's going to catch. You want your head to have glancing blows if it's going to hit the ground. So just super strong, super techy. I think that it's worth investing in your head. As a woman rider myself, for a long time it was a really big struggle being able to find gear that fit. Even if it did fit, generally it's pretty expensive, and if it's no good, if it doesn't wear well, if it doesn't age well, if it's uncomfortable, there wasn't really anybody to really talk to about it or bounce ideas off of. Like I said, over the last couple of years, there has been a big influx in women's gear specifically. And so, both because it's part of my job, but also because I ride myself, I like being aware of those kinds of things so I can give people real opinions. I can give them real feedback. Like with the Roland Sands jacket, it's a little tight in the arms. I know that because I, have that same jacket. So being able to anticipate pain points and being able to really fit somebody into something that they like, I think that it helps having some experience with that. I do think, as far as women's gear specifically, Erico does have a larger selection than most shops. A lot of motorcycle shops you go into, they'll have like a women's section with a couple of things, but in Erico, I feel like we try to have a little bit of everything and just kind of intermix it. So in all of the lines, we'll generally have some women's gear. Like with the pants, we make sure we have some women's pants. With the jackets, we make sure we have textile women's jackets and leather jackets. I think that women in motorcycle is a category that is on the way up in an industry where it's kind of on the way down. And so being able to really represent women in a lot of different kind of ways and make them feel included and make them feel welcome and not just like an afterthought, I think is a huge thing.